just kind of start with the fact that you have one more game, pretty easy in terms of coming off a couple of nights where you didn't like the result, but the significance and the importance of the next 24 hours here.
I think it's just trying to get back to playing our best game. I mean, last night there was stretches where, like the first period, I thought was a pretty good period for us, and when we gave up that goal to start the second period, I thought we went flat from there. So, a real challenge for us is to make sure that we're prepared for 60 minutes, knowing that there's going to be momentum shifts in games where I think as a team we gotta dig in and get it back when it's not on our side.
And fair to say you've been pretty good with those types of swings throughout the course of the season. Is there anything that's changed maybe, or you just kind of have to refocus that in?
No, I think it's just a refocus. That to me is the biggest thing. So when you find yourself in one of those situations where you don't like something that happened, it's making sure that that next line's got some edge and they're prepared to go out there and whatever the case may be physical, be spending a long time in the offensive zone, whatever it has to be to shift the momentum back.
Morgan's one of those few forwards you've got, Ryan, where he's pretty comfortable carrying the puck into his zone on his own. And how do you take advantage of that? Given you don't have a ton of forwards that do that necessarily.
Yeah, Connor Zari is one of our other guys that does that a fair bit. Well, we want him to do it. I think that's one of the messages we've had with him. And even in the short period of time, the challenge that we've given him now is to do it with more pace. So we want to see him play faster with the puck. And I think if he's able to do that and continue to add to that part of his game, he's going to be even more dangerous and dynamic when he hits the offensive blue line if he's able to carry some more speed. So trying to get his toes up the ice a little bit quicker to try to help him in that area has been a focus for us.
And when he hits the blue line with speed, what are you hoping that does to opposition?
Well, like anything, speed is hard to defend. We saw that last night a little bit with our game, and I think when you have intelligent players and guys that are capable of making plays at high speed, you're a shot threat like we saw in Seattle when we were just down there, but he can also distribute. So it's kind of a more dangerous player when you're learning how to do it with more pace with the puck.
It's hard to believe it's only been a week since those guys were on a flight from Philadelphia. How do you sort of evaluate them in that lens of just kind of knowing what you've thrown at them in 7 days?
Yeah, right now we're just trying to get them to feel as comfortable as possible around the team. And one thing that, at times that I even forget until I have to kind of bring myself back a little bit, they played back-to-back before Peter and Connie went to grab them. They flew all day, then they had another back-to-back with a tougher travel situation. So you don't see that in the NHL, and these guys have come into a new team where emotionally that's a hard thing to do as well. So I give them both a lot of credit for how they've come and played for us so far, and I do think the longer they're here, the more comfortable they get around here, they're going to be really good players for us.
The old 4 and 5.
That's that was like the old American League when you were 3-3 nights when the third game was at 2 p.m. So not an easy thing. It's not something that's normal for players to have to do, and I thought both of them handled it really well.
Do you find when you've got two new guys, you have to not get them out of habits that they had in that previous system? Like, are you trying to, like, is that part of the...
Not early on. I think early on it's just you want them to go out and be who they are. So we want to see them as players when they're just really trusting their instincts. Because sometimes when you're trying to fit in with a new team and learn new structure, you think, and where am I supposed to be here in this situation? And typically when you're thinking on the ice, you're a slower player and you're not nearly as effective. So the message to both those guys is just go play. We want them to be competitive. We want them to move their feet. We want them to play fast. And then each day that we're with them, we'll be able to work with them a little bit more.
And I imagine the message to Joel is just drive the net and let Nazem and Jonathan.
Sure. I mean, and he's an offensive guy as well. He has good instincts. He can make plays with the puck. It's the pace thing again that we, over the last 2 games, we feel like our team has to raise that level. And I think both Morgan and Joel are in that mix as well.
Your group has had a lot of success with coaches' challenges this year. From the broadcast and up top, it seems like there's a ton of stuff happening in a hurry when you guys have to make those challenges. Yeah. From a coach's perspective, how do you, I guess, evaluate it? Because I imagine you probably just get, some kind of contact from Jamie Pringle saying, we're going to look at this. How does it unfold?
Last night was a layup, and I think Jamie would tell you that too. So those ones are always easy when it's an offside one like that, and easy for me too, because when you do look down at your video screen, there's all sorts of different things that are going on that you have to try to figure out in short time. But when there's an offside like that one where it's easy to see, Jamie freezes it, and I feel a lot calmer on the bench in those situations. But I think the biggest thing for us is Jamie does his homework. I think he has a good understanding of what the league is calling and what they're not calling. And because he's prepared, I feel comfortable with his suggestions and with his thoughts. And when he flashes something on the screen for me, I know the detail and the preparation has been put into it, so I trust him a lot.
So when you look down, you're seeing that queued up already or paused where the offside was.
Yeah, so he'll run through it. So you'll see the computer moving a little bit back and forth while he's trying to look at different views. And as things come in from the truck, that's what takes a little bit of time sometimes. So if there is one that you're in question on, you're always waiting for another view to see if there's something that's conclusive. So when coaches stall, that's usually what they're doing, is they're hoping that there's going to be something coming from one of the trucks that will give us a better picture, that will allow the decision to be an easier one to be made.
Knowing the sort of, I don't want to say coin flip it can become, but knowing, how close some of these calls end up being, like your confidence in Jamie and the record he has so far, how much does that mean?
A lot. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, I mentioned it earlier. Like, I think you do have trust in him because I know he knows really what's going on around the league. We have a game show that we play in our coach's office every morning called Goal or No Goal, where we review all the challenges from the night before, if there were any. And some of them are hard. They're really hard. But I think because we do things like that, we have a pretty good understanding that doesn't guarantee success all the time, but there's certain situations where we know pretty good chance this is coming back, and other times you're like, we got to be careful if we're challenging that. And then it comes into play who you're playing. If you're playing against the top power play in the league and you're borderline or you're iffy on it, then it may not be the right time to challenge.
Who's the king of goal or no goal?
Well, Jamie will say he is, but I don't know if I agree with that. It changes every day because, like, for all you guys too, if you're watching and you're like, yeah, I think that's a good one, and they'll come back and say no goal, you're like, what? So it's the same in our coach's office, and I think, again, by us going through an exercise like that, we feel like we're a little bit better prepared.
Last night might have been the first one I got right.
Yeah, those ones, like I said, the pit in the stomach kind of goes away when you see it that obvious. Yeah.
Do we have an updated record on Jamie? Is it just, I'm sure.
I feel like we're up to 8 or 9 this year, and we missed one.
One.
Yeah. So we're
That's 8.
pretty good.